Hello, hello, hello. It is Elsid 932 on YouTube, and I am here with Life is Reality, JRX TV. We are covering You're Married at First Sight UK. We're going to be doing weekly lives because, we got lives, okay? So we can't do every single day, 5 days a week, but we will be here for you each week covering what we seen, what we heard, and all the shenanigans in between. So please make sure you do hit the like, share, and subscribe to both of our channels because we are going to be covering shows, together, this one and separately other shows. How are you today, Life is Reality?
Oh, good, thank you. Bit cold, bit rainy, bit wet, but I just ate, so I'm feeling great. How are you?
Awesome. A full belly will do that to you, right?
Yeah, when it's full of the good stuff. Yeah.
So Life is Reality is, rainy, wet, a little chilly. Y'all know he from the UK. So we talking about his folks. We usually covering reality TV shows talking about my folks stateside. I love the flip.
Yeah.
So we had 5 episodes this week. I was prepared for 4 episodes. Where did the 5th one come from?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be 4 too, especially as these episodes are like an hour long.
Right. But there are several weddings. So let's start off with the way the show started off. And we may jump around, y'all, because we're covering the entire week. Okay. We have 8 couples to cover. So let's start off where it started off. Sarah and Dean. Y'all, Sarah and Dean. Sarah came in here saying that the bad boy, the all tatted up abs, isn't really working for her. She wants something different. And the experts gave her Dean, very jovial. Dean is, got on a little bit more pounds than she's used to. But Dean said he used to be way slender and he was an a-hole when he was slender. He was arrogant. He was, just not a nice person. But he has found his equilibrium and he is happy where he is. And Sarah ain't buying it. Sarah don't like Dean. She don't like Dean at all. JR?
Yeah. Sarah said she wants someone different to her usual type. Get someone who's completely different to her usual type, and was immediately turned off from the moment she saw him. Not attracted at all. Then,
Not
then Dean proceeded to. He was threatening this with his groomsmen that he was gonna rap his vows or rap at the event. I was thinking, dude, you're so cringe already. What are you doing, bruv? So I think what he does is he outwardly projects himself to be not necessarily confident, but always joking, always trying to do things to distract from his personality. And I think it's a self-esteem issue.
I
He's not
agree with you.
entirely comfortable with himself. So he's always trying to people please or have a party trick or a joke or something. And sometimes those things don't land well.
I think it is a defense mechanism. Give me one moment. Thank you, Only Me 23, for giving 5 memberships. It is wonderful. We have 5 new L citizens. Our member lives are on Monday evenings at 8 o'clock EST. But thank you so much for always supporting. I agree with you with Dean. I think, as the person who was always the tallest and heavier in high school, you decide sometimes, some people, you decide to create the joke rather than be the joke. And I'm getting that feeling from Dean. It's like he knows he has been the joke many a time. So if I make you laugh, I know you're laughing with me and not at me.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. But that freestyle rap, whatever he tried to do, Yeah, that wasn't a joke. That made him the butt of the joke to the nationwide and global audience. That was bad. And the thing is, when he said it to his groomsmen and his friends, I know they, like, you saw the look on their face. They looked concerned, as if, nah, this ain't. But no one actually stopped him. No one actually said, Dean, I don't think this is a good idea. I don't know what put that idea in your head that this is going to land well on your wedding day, and more importantly, a special day for your partner as well, who you've never met before. But yeah, Dean just doesn't know how to read the room.
He doesn't know how to stop either, because even though he did the rap and she clearly was not laughing, she was not even smiling, she was cringeworthy, he ended up singing a song, bringing a guitar out at the reception. And during the honeymoon, he keeps bursting into song like, we have a Disney special. I mean, Dean is just a musical. We should call it the musical of Dean.
Well, the thing is, I think, as I said, he's trying to overcompensate, but I also think he sees these type of gestures as romantic gestures. Singing to your woman, serenading her type thing. I think he feels like that's going to win him some points. It's not, though. Like you said, she sees it as cringe. And very early, she said, all right, stop now. Every time he tries to stop now, and he immediately stops and has to be serious. So he doesn't know how to read the room. He doesn't know how to gauge anything. Yes, they haven't met before. It doesn't know her. But dude, you're setting yourself up to not be liked if you keep doing this type of stuff.
And we have a question from the audience for you. Would you rap at your wedding?
Would I rap it? Absolutely not. The only way I'd rap at my wedding is if a few songs into the wedding dance and a song that I knew came on, I'll probably rap along to it. Or if I'm with my groomsmen and I decided to come out in like some type of theatrical performance, then yeah. But other than that, I'm not rapping at the dinner table with my girl, with all eyes on me and her, family and friends watching, so they can say, ew, this JR guy's cringe. Nope, not doing it.
Well, good to know. Don't pass you the microphone. Just play the song and you'll rap over it. It's not going to be an original rap.
Now, I might rap while I'm dancing to one of the songs, trying to get everybody to come up onto the dance floor. But other than that, I'm not trying to do a solo performance. I'm not trying to crash out like Will Smith. I'm not trying to do none of that stuff. All right.
Okay, so no musical performances. Okay, we got it. So,
Maybe
future...
a dance routine. Maybe a dance routine with a groomsman.
Okay.
But not a rap. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. The future Mrs. JR, please take note. Okay. Munda Angel said she was looking forward to the performance. He won't televise it. Even if he did perform, it won't be on social media.
It might be.
Okay. Thank you for proving me wrong. So Sarah has these looks on her face, y'all. Every time Dean does something, Dean at this point can't even talk to a passerby and say hello in a nice manner without Sarah going, ooh, yeah, Sarah, your previous person, your type never proposed to you, never stayed with you. She's one of the ladies that said they were cheated on. So why are you really measuring Dean to the person that cheated on you in the past?
You know what it is? Because that's her type. She's attracted to that type of guy. Whether it worked out or not, she misses the point. She's here because the type that she usually goes for hasn't worked, which she does understand, because hence why she was saying, I need someone completely different to who I usually go for. Now, Dean is that, but as I said, she was completely repulsed from the first moment she laid eyes on him. Then as they've gotten to know each other, like said the vows, sat down with each other, ate the dinner and everything, he's not helping himself. But I don't see this being turned in a different way. I think she's just going to get further annoyed and irritated due to the lack of attraction, and it's going to be a wrap for them.
I hope Sarah stays, as you say, maybe a wrap, pun intended, for them. Um, but I hope she stays because there's a groom. Okay, when we get there, there's a groom that meets the staples of everything that Sarah's looking for. And this is my first time watching, going to watch the UK all the way through. So I'm wondering if there'll be a cheating scandal, you know, with
Right.
that groom, because he got a handful too.
Well, it's a funny thing you say that, because that groom is not entirely happy with who he's been matched up with either. And we will touch on it. But hopefully we don't see a cheating scandal. If they do hook up, hopefully it's away from the show and not while they're both currently in situations with their partners on TV.
Okay, I'm spoiled by Australia. There's always a cheating scandal with Australia. Are they allowed to ask the participants what kind of looks they would like for their spouses to have, or is that too vain? They do ask them that in the lead up. The experts ask them and ask them, is it okay if if the person doesn't have this? Is it okay if they're not into fitness? Is it okay? They do ask them, and they go through an extensive kind of rundown, but they do throw out something. You could see why they matched them. In every couple, you could see why they were matched, and then you could see why certain things were left out because they want to create some drama. And for this one, Sarah told Dean to his face that he's too heavy for her. And the only way she could consider him is if he lose quite a bit of weight and get tattoos. She was very upfront with it. Now, do we applaud her honesty, or do we think she's obnoxious? I think it was obnoxious.
Same here. Definitely obnoxious. You're asking him to be someone that he's not. Yeah. Losing weight. Yeah. I mean, that's something that he can do with some consistency and time. As we know, weight can fluctuate. To tattoo yourself in the manner that she wants, he's going to be a completely different person. And I forget what he does for a living. But, there's that to consider also. Drastically altering your appearance may affect your livelihood. And Sarah's not all the way locked in on him anyway. The cringe stuff he does is something that's a complete turnoff. So, I think she's been very forward, very direct. But the attraction is not there. I don't think it's going to grow. Just don't see it. And he has handled her with grace as well, because she's not perfect herself. And he has decided to try and put the positive light on everything in order to try and make the relationship run smoothly. Whereas she's picking out the things that she doesn't like, and it's beginning to wear on her already.
I'm looking up, Dean is a team building host. So he's basically like an HR person. So, he has to be hospitable and approachable. So I don't know. And, granted, that this is just me. I don't know how it is in the UK. I don't have a problem with somebody, tatted, but for my job, it has to be able to be hidden under your clothing. If you are tatted, but I don't mind a person tattooed on their hands, all up their neck, just not your face. But that's a personal choice. Getting tattoos is something very, very personal. So to just tell him get tattoos, I mean, if I was Dean and I was making a joke, and if y'all watch oh gosh, what is the Beach House? It's a Bravo show. One of the gentlemen there, everybody thought he was kind of nerdy, dorky. It's not. Oh gosh, I'll get it. They thought he was kind of nerdy and dorky, and he decided to get a temporary tattoo on his chest and back. And all of a sudden, the lady's like, "Oh, you look handsome. You look good." And he's like, "It's temporary tattoos. It's gonna wash off." So, I mean, tattoos are a personal choice. You can't just tell the man, I need you to get tattoos. It's not, it's expensive, it's painful, and it's a lot of risks there. So Sarah, I'm sorry for her. We're seeing a lot of her, reaction to Dean. Um, and we have, or at least I have seen, Dean is starting to crumble within himself.
Of course, because he's not the strongest, most confident person. You can see that, and that's why he hides behind the entertainment thing. But as a team builder as well, he's used to breaking the ice or giving people icebreakers to try and get familiar with each other and be able to get comfortable. In this case, he's not using his skill set. And admittedly, we do tell people leave your work life at the door when you come home. But in this case, he needs to rely on his skills of ice breaking and team building, because he needs to try and somehow build this team with a teammate who's not impressed with what she's seen so far. Now, I would like to say, and it's quite an obvious thing to say, if the roles were reversed and Dean was making requirements on Sarah, on her appearance or her demeanor or anything, everyone would be calling him out for being a bully, probably misogynist, and probably being very controlling and, out of order. But
Tell it. Tell
yeah,
it.
exactly. So
If we had a groom tell a bride she needs to lose weight,
mhm,
if just that, don't even say tattoos. Cut her hair, let's say that. If
yeah,
we had a groom tell a bride lose weight, we
hmm
would be roasting him over the coals.
yep, absolutely. So I feel like, as I say, he's given her a lot of grace, but he's not doing himself any favors at all. I think this is his natural personality, though. Um, so that's why I don't see much hope. I don't see him being a serious guy who's all of a sudden going to say, "Okay, let me stop the bull crap and actually just be direct and straightforward with you. This is how I feel. This is how I feel about you. This is where I want us to go." You know, I don't see him having that in him. I think he seems like someone who's just willing to go along to get along type thing. And I feel like Sarah is very direct. I think she's very outspoken. Not a bad thing. She's very forward in how she feels. But what I expect to come with that is a level of grace that your sharpness may hurt the confidence of someone who obviously has some type of personal um, issue going on.
Yeah, that is correct. So, any other words for about Dean and Sarah?
No.
Okay. Okay. Next up, hmm. You want to cover who we think Sarah may dive to?
Um, I think we should.
You pick. I picked Dean and Sarah first. You pick who's next.
Yeah, I would go with what's the guy's name with the Indian lady?
Okay,
Uh,
Stephen and Nelly.
Stephen and Nelly. Okay, let's run that.
Stephen and Nelly, y'all. Nelly is a dentist, or yeah, she's a dentist, and Stephen is the dad of two. Okay, one of his children is nonverbal autistic, the youngest one. Nelly, is okay with it. Here's what I loved about their wedding. Her friends asked Stephen's friends, does he have any kids? And he had not told Nelly yet. And the
Mhm.
friend said, yes, he has two, but we would like him to be able to tell her. Now, when her friends were talking with her, they respected that. Yes, Nelly talked to her friends like, I don't know if he has kids. I don't know, whatever. Her friends looked at each other, but they kept quiet and allowed him to, I know Life is Reality will be coming back. They allowed him to be able to tell her later on in the evening, and she was quite accepting of it. They had a wonderful honeymoon. They go in stride for stride. They do have chemistry. They like each other. They haven't ticked each other off. Um, but what are your thoughts on Nelly and Steven?
So far, they seem to have a good connection. There's a mutual attraction there. Um, very different culture. She came in on a very fancy, elaborate Aladdin style um, chariot being carried down down to the altar, which I thought was a nice touch. Despite how elaborate it was, and he seems to really like her as well. So, and be open to the marriage with her. However, I have noticed that the not the nitpicking, but I would say she's been very forward in some of her questioning, which kind of is boxing him into saying, yes, I agree. And if he says no, it's a deal breaker. That's the kind of vibe she's giving very early. And I'm not sure how much of that can be sustained before he switches. What are your thoughts?
I agree with you. It seems like it's a gentle way of saying my way or the highway. It's
Exactly.
it's a gentle way, and the what I love about Steven is he's noticing it, but he's not being forward in his noticing of it. He's not saying, "Oh, well, yeah, don't ask me that," or "Why would you ask me this way?" He's treading lightly because it's also giving him information. And this is what I like to tell ladies too while we're dating. You may ask a question is also how the person asked the question and how they answer it. And Steven is filing that away and taking things with stride, but he also knows he's got 2 kids in the mix of this. So he has double the responsibility in the mix of this. And y'all, there are several parents on this show. Okay. Several parents. We will, of course, tell you who's got kids once we know or the show has disclosed. But yes, she seems to be asking certain things. And I wonder if it's from, as she said, she came in that way in her full regalia, okay, of her culture, because she said she needed a man that understands that she is about her culture. Um, and a red, unless you know her culture, a red wedding dress may seem a little bit different, but he took it in great stride. He said, "What an entrance. Absolutely amazing." Um, and he took everything in stride. And I don't know if it's because he has 2 kids to tell her about. That he took everything in stride. It's like, yeah, this is fine. This is fine. But they're very affectionate. They do hold hands. He told her it's okay. And she told him it's okay if you want to go in for a kiss. I am all about the PDA with you. They had a wonderful honeymoon together. And I see good things, but she also points out what she notices. Did you see her? Because she a dentist. She's like, "Ooh, good teeth. You got good teeth."
Yeah. Yeah.
She pointed
Yeah.
out what kind of teeth it was too.
Yeah. I mean, she's highly skilled, but again, leave that at the door, because if he eats if he eats a salad or something and he has some lettuce in his teeth, she's the type of person to tell him, "Oh, you're embarrassing. You got something in your teeth." All
Right.
right.
And he's no slouch. He's an investment banker. So
Right.
it's not like they put a dentist with someone who is inferior as far as monetary. Steven is
Exactly.
an investment banker. So he seems a little quirky, but I like that about folks.
Right. So we just putting it out there. We can't use the broke card or the homosexual card in this situation. All right. He's got money. Um,
And she's
Now
got her own practice.
she's got her own practice. She's got money. Dental technician, dental work, dentistry, very lucrative.
Very
Why?
lucrative.
Because they get paid from private and public sectors. So it's constant source of employment, and there's long waiting lists. So they're always in business.
Always.
Right. So yes, he seems to. I wouldn't say he's putting up with everything because he has 2 kids. I wouldn't say that, but we will have to see how that dynamic works once he gets closer to, introducing her to his children and things,
I- I'm
because
I'm not
they
gonna
go,
say putting up with, but I will say he kind of like, treading lightly because I do have two kids and we need there's more than this that we need to navigate.
okay, so what about it just being the early stages and let's get to know each other first,
It's the
let's put,
early stages with kids.
yeah, but I mean, just because they've decided to skip a whole lot of the process and get married at first sight doesn't mean you speed up the process of meeting the children. In
Oh, no,
fact,
no, no. I just
yeah.
think he knows that even though I may be all in with Nelly, my kids have a say.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I don't think he'll be all in as he can be, as any parent would be, not just him. But I'll be as all in as I can be, but I know that I have, a third and fourth party that has a say and has to be comfortable, and you have to be comfortable with them before we can, ride off into the sunset, for a lack of
Absolutely.
a better term.
And that's the way it should be.
Yes, yes. I think they right now they are a wonderful couple, but we are in the honeymoon phase, and we know that when MAFS throw things at them, like grading the looks of the other spouses, that too can cause rifts in relationships. But yes, definitely, I like Deli and Steven so far. Okay, so far. Next up, let us talk about Davide and Kia.
Right. Well,
Now,
but
this is
yeah,
there's
go
another
ahead.
one like Dean. Key is another one like Dean, putting on a whole lot of show, making everybody laugh in order to kind of, not get to the emotional side of things because he's been hurt before. Davide is definitely the deep thinker and the kind of heart of gold. And certainly during their honeymoon, that came out where, Key was able to be vulnerable fully with his husband. But here's the thing, Key, you got no control. Even on the safari, the people are telling him, be quiet. We don't want to agitate the animals. And Kia just keeps on. And Davide had to put his hand over his mouth to be like, dude, stop, stop. What are your thoughts on the two of them? I don't think, even though they ended up their honeymoon on good terms, I don't think this is gonna work.
I must say, I didn't watch this couple too much, so I don't have too much to add. Um, but yeah, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I really don't know.
Yeah, it for me it's seeming like it's going to burn and not in a good way. Okay, it's going to burn and not in a good way. We did see a lot, we didn't see a whole lot of them beyond the wedding. The family seemed to get along, but Kia has, some family trauma that has to be dealt with. Davide, is understanding, but I think Davide kept on saying, I know you probably saw this. He kept on saying, Kia is always at 110 all the time, all the time. I'm getting tired. Can we just stop and breathe and calm for a moment? Davide was like, he is on 110. So I think Kia is going to wear Davide thin. I think that's it. And since you ain't got much to say about them, I'm going to move on to the next one. Okay. Ashley and Grace, the don't touch me couple. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Ashley and Grace. Grace
oh,
is don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Not
Grace, no,
even,
she not only said don't touch me, she said, can you sleep on the couch tonight?
yes. Well, at least he was in the room on the couch. We have some couples that they can't stay on the couch. Now this couple, no kids. Grace is a feminist, a very much independent woman. Ashley was raised on traditional values, and that really kind of started the sour note. But Grace was having a meltdown at the wedding right before photography. She can't handle this. She don't want to be around this man. Again, Ashley did nothing except turn around and smile at her and tell her she looked really beautiful. Now, Ashley does put his foot in his mouth, and the reason why they put together is as a feminist and him as a traditional man, they really wanted to push the bar because Ashley said he wanted what? A combat Barbie. That's what he wanted, a combat Barbie. And Grace is, says, she wants to be able to be the breadwinner. She wants to be able to do so many things. And Ashley is like, hey, I was raised to be a gentleman. And he said he was not a feminist. But the friend, again, the friends are coming through. Well, one person, the friend's not coming through, but the friends came through. It's like, what is a feminist to you? Do you understand what it is? And then he said what he believes in treating a woman well, being nice to her, treating her with respect. And they're like, well, then you're a feminist. And he's like, well, I guess I am. He never thought of it that way. He didn't understand it. And kind of like to calm Grace, but Grace said, don't touch me. Not even with boxing gloves. Don't touch me. What were your thoughts about Ashley and Grace? Because,
Yeah, she needs to change the name to Disgrace because, unfortunately, I don't understand how you come into a situation like this with the dislike and disdain that you have straight away and then expect it to work. You haven't given it a chance. She got to the altar. She had a full meltdown, ran off camera. I can't do this. I don't want to be around him. He's not my type. I'm not attracted to him. It's an instant no. Right. So how do you think he feels standing at the altar, trying to nervously look around, having met this girl for the first time, realizing that she doesn't even like him? So there used to be a saying, first impressions last. And her first impression of him, I mean, she did smile when they got to the altar. There was a hug and whatnot. But after that, it went downhill pretty quickly. So, yeah, I think from what I remember correctly, when they were at the altar, she couldn't even make eye contact with him for too long. She was completely turned off. So I don't mind if she's a feminist. I don't care if she's a dominate. I don't care. The fact of the matter is she's not attracted to the guy that she's been paired with. And now I suspect, after seeing how she reacted at the altar, it's downhill. It's going to be comments. It's going to be expectations. It's going to be wants. It's going to be things that he's not doing right. She's just going to gradually chip away at him.
she has been, but she touched his shoulder. That she said that's as much touch as she can have, touching his shoulder.
Yeah,
and
not good enough.
She wants to prove that she is, strong. I am woman, hear me roar. And she carried him on a piggyback ride.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. You're so strong, you sleep on the couch. You sleep on the couch then. Yeah, you sleep on the couch then. You're the one that's got the issue with him and how he looks, and you're not trying. You sleep on the couch.
Equal opportunity for the couch. I mean,
Yeah,
hey, she's
exactly.
a feminist.
Yeah, equal opportunities for the couch. Absolutely. You pay for the dates. Yep.
Daggone it.
Fix the light bulbs. Yep.
Do everything. Don't ask me to do what is traditionally known as a man's responsibility.
No, go mow the lawn, go cut the grass, put the gas in the car, all of that. See how much of a feminist you really are.
Grace, they have kind of like, a friendship. Okay. I say that lightly in that they are friendly. She is willing to touch his shoulder. He cannot touch her. He can't even shake her hand or hold her hand. So I don't know where this is going. I think Grace just needs to go home.
That's where they're going. They're going home, empty-handed. A touch on the shoulder, Elsie. Come on, friends do that.
Yeah.
And these two are not friends. They've just met for the first time and they're meant to be married at first sight. I think, there needs to be more research done by these participants in order to prepare them for what this show actually entails. You're not going to get your usual type. And then if you don't get your usual type, the way that you adapt and react to that is going to be very important. Why? Because your usual type hasn't worked for you. So you have to have the mindset of, okay, I trust the process. This person's been paired with me for this reason. Even if you don't understand the reasoning, first of all, take the time to get to know the person to see if you can understand why that person's been matched with you. If you're not prepared to do that and give that grace and give that time, yep, it's home time. Time to go home. Don't waste nobody else's time.
Right, because Grace, as you said, had a meltdown. I mean, they were waiting for her for the photos for the longest time, and she, is carrying on. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. I don't. And it's like the man has literally only said a few sentences to you just at the altar, and all of a sudden you don't want to be around him. It just, to me, it was like, it is an internal thing because you don't know anything about Ashley.
Mhm.
It is something with you. You know nothing about Ashley other than he spoke to you at the altar. He made, everybody makes generic vows. And now you want to have a meltdown backstage.
Yep.
It's great for TV, but I think, as you said, Grace and other ladies, y'all need to figure it out how your reaction is going to be translated. Because it sounded like Tim from the bin in Australia, who was very, very, upset about who he was matched with, Katie. And he's still off of social media in Australia
Of
because
course.
how he behaved in the
Well, it's not just
reaction.
how he behaved, it's the witch hunt that came after him and could have jeopardized his career because he was a teacher, like a primary
Yes,
school teacher or someone like that. Yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
you can't have that. The other thing is, let me ask you, because you may need to refresh my memory. What did Grace's friends say about her to the cameras?
The friend said she is one, like a strong woman. She's a feminist. She believes in, women can do just about anything like a man can do. They do say she is quick to decide and not, and it takes her, I think the friend said it takes her a while. If her first thought is something, then for her to come around the bend is going to take a
Exactly.
while. And I was like, ugh, if she don't like Ashley now, it's going to take a lot more than a honeymoon for her to come around
Exactly.
even to even like him. But that friend, the blonde with the bang yang yangs, I like her. She is like, to me, the great person in the middle to kind of like translate what each of them are saying so the other one doesn't, misunderstand. But every time Ashley says something, Grace is there to bop him, with her words. And like, ugh, why would you say you want like a combat Barbie? Ugh, why would you say this? And he's constantly feeling like he's putting his foot in his mouth. But he seems like a good old chap, but that's just, first impressions.
Mm,
Because I don't know what Ashley gonna be like when he tired of it and he wants to be done.
exactly. She may want to be done as well. Or she may be upset that he's the one that wants to be done and she wants to be the one to pull the plug on it. But I see it heading there before I see it getting good
Oh
between them.
yeah. Oh yeah. I see
think
him walking into the first dinner separate.
exactly. I think she's going to be very performative in front of the cameras to highlight, the things that he does wrong whenever he does them. As a guy, you can tell when a woman's into you and when a woman likes you. You're gonna put your hand on my shoulder. I already know you're not feeling me. I'm sorry.
You're gonna give me a piggyback ride.
Yeah. There's nothing that we get from being on your back while you're giving us a piggyback. When we're giving you the, we get to grab the legs. We get you holding on tight to our shoulders. We can even reach back and grab other areas.
We grab your legs.
Yeah, we don't have our erogenous zones in our legs like that. You do. So that's why we feel nothing. In fact, it makes us feel horrible. It's like being the little spoon in the bed. Why would us as a guy be the little spoon in the bed and have you behind as the big spoon? No, sir.
Well,
Yeah?
we can reach stuff when we are the big spoon.
You can reach. No, you can reach back and reach stuff when you're the little spoon.
I just messed with you. I
No,
understand. I
absolutely
understand.
not. Yeah, no.
I understand what you're saying. I will say though that make sure that if you are in emergency services, make sure you can if you need to rescue your spouse, be it man or woman, make sure you can rescue them. Okay, I will say that. Um, but yes, the piggyback ride thing, I was like, she does not. I felt, and I don't know if you felt, I felt it was a way to emasculate him, and I did not like
Exactly.
it.
That's exactly what my point is. Little spoon in the bed is emasculation. You giving the dude the piggyback is emasculation. Listen, we don't need to know how strong you are. We really don't.
But I'm hopeful that she gave him a piggyback ride after he gave her one. I'm hopeful that we
No,
just didn't see it.
no.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay. Dag. Okay. So let's piggyback ride to another couple.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you like to go to next?
Let's go with the two ladies.
Lee and Leah, daggone it. If y'all were gonna match two people, I can't even put L in my notes. I gotta spell out the names. I mean, daggone it, married at first sight. Okay, so Lee, okay, long hair, Lee. Lee is a piece of work, y'all. Lee wants a lady who is masked, which is masculine presenting, but not too masculine presenting. She wants them to be independent, but not too independent. She wants them to be driven, but not too driven. Lee don't know what she wants. Lee don't have a clue. Lee wants who she is in this moment. Lee is very domineering, very much taking charge. And when Leah takes charge, Leah is the one with the fierce bob. Okay. I love Leah. When Leah is trying to take charge, like Lee wants her mate to take charge, Lee shuts her down every opportunity. But Leah is trying. Leah let her know, hey, I'm trying. I want this to work, but you are not being open to this. Lee planned a wonderful zip line. I want their honeymoon. Everybody, I have Caribbean roots. I've been to the Caribbean. I've been in Caribbean waters, whatever. I would love their Swiss mountain honeymoon, zip lining through the snow. Absolutely fabulous. But Lee was not having it. She didn't want to be there. On the wedding night, Lee told Leah to leave the room. You need to go sleep elsewhere. What are your thoughts on Lee and Leah? Or Leah and Lee?
Lee, you are reprehensible. First of all, the attitude is not conducive to even being on this show to find a partner to make a relationship work. Completely terrible. Leah is open to the process, willing to try and listen to what her partner wants, and then try and figure out where there's a mutual ground and they can have a mutual joyful experience in getting to know each other. Lee is completely closed off. She's even said it herself. Her boundaries are up. It's going to take a while to break them down. She doesn't believe in them getting close on the wedding night, hence why, her little remark about, oh, well, you know what? How about if I stay in the room tonight and you go and sleep somewhere else? Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Leah should have walked at that point and said, you know what? No, I'm not feeling this. Now, the other thing is about their alpine ski honeymoon. It wasn't Leah that picked that. It was the show that picked that destination for them. And Lee acted like it was Leah having all the fun. She picked the date and she's having everything her way. That's not what happened. But that's how she framed it. And then she decided to be stubborn and rude and just kill the joy, just kill the fun from the whole experience. She even started crying. And then when Leah goes to console her, no, I just need a moment, and goes and walks off away from her. Yo, this ain't gonna work. And it's all down to Lee being the problem right here. She's very spoilt. She's got a lot of things going on which make her undateable, let alone not marriage worthy at the moment, in my opinion. Oh,
Right.
sorry. Let me just give a disclaimer. All these opinions are the thoughts and opinions of me and El Cid. So
It's
before
scrolling
you
on
get
the bottom. It's scrolling on the
exactly.
bottom.
Oh, thank you.
For
Thank you.
entertainment purposes only.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
And it's
Yes.
based on these are opinions based on the information provided.
Oh,
Again, we know this is an edited show. If you are here and you watch the first 30 seconds on the intro, it says that this does not encapsulate the cast members. So again, we are basing this based on the edited version of Lee that Married at First Sight, Channel 4 in the UK has decided to show us about Lee and Leah. Now, I like Leah because Leah is like, I probably want the tropical vacation, but since we in the mountains and the snow, let's do this right. And Lee made it seem, as you said, that Leah is on production and chose this. I'm like, girl, she didn't choose it, but she's willing. Leah is willing to be open and like, okay, let's discover this. Okay, I've ziplined through the Caribbean. Now I'll get to zipline through the snow. Let's do this. And Lee's not open. But Leah is, I think she's done, even though Leah has said to Lee that, okay, we can reset. And I like that you have done a reset since I have mentioned it to you and you're proven that you are able to absorb this and make a change. I think Leah is playing, not playing, but Leah is aware of the cameras and knows that she's just doing this to pacify the whole Lee situation. I think Leah is just done. Because the way she was at breakfast, when they said, well, we hope you enjoyed your first night at the being newlywed, she's like, I didn't. I was, I was freezing. And then the other time she said, because this happened, I'm gonna be sleeping in the dungeon tonight. I know Leah is like, yeah, I'm done. I'm just here so I don't get fined.
exactly. Because let's face it, those remarks that she were making are subliminals. They're shots to say, listen. In fact, when she came up to the room, she said, I could have easily shared the bed with you tonight, that night. And Lee was like, no, well, my boundaries and I didn't feel comfortable and blah, 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 blah. Right. But yeah, you banished her to the dungeon. You banished her to the cold. No warmth, no cuddles, no late night conversation. You're supposed to be getting to know each other. This is your first night together and you've already kicked her out the room. So that shows you where Lee's mindset is. But I don't see it working. I think, Leah is a lot more open to the process. Lee, however, is very closed off. She's very rigid. She's very stubborn. If she doesn't get her own way, then she's out, and she will ruin the vibe. And people like that, those energy vampires, and then she turns into a volunteer victim when she gets called out on anything. She starts to shed some waterworks. Nah, that's the person you don't want to be with. Sorry.
Exactly. She's not trying to learn who Leah is. She's not
No.
trying to listen to when Leah is trying to speak. Leah is trying so hard to be, accommodating, say, would you like hot chocolate? And, Lee's like, I'll watch you pour. And it just doesn't seem, very much connecting. It's okay if you don't want to share the bed with your person the first night. That's okay. That's a prerogative. It's how you feel. But if you banish them from the room that first night, where y'all can't even talk, you can't even, kind of move around the room and kind of see how you get ready for bed. Those are all couple bonding things.
Mm-hmm.
Totally understandable, but to banish her and the way she said early on, she said, I need a few hours each day by myself so I can recharge. Lee was like, what? You can't do this. This is production. Production ain't giving you a couple of hours. Then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm going to need you to go sleep elsewhere. It's the way she did it too. Lee is very much, I'm sorry, Lee, you're giving me very much Ice Queen. And
Yep.
Switzerland was the perfect place for you to go. And I wonder if messy production didn't pick it for that exact reason, knowing she was a little bit of an ice queen.
A little bit of an ice queen. It was the perfect place for her. She could have stood. Listen, Lee could have slept outside on the ground, no tent, and been quite comfortable in that freezing cold out there. That's how much of an ice queen she is.
I got it. But yeah, I feel, I feel Leah can be an ice queen. Let's put it
Yeah.
out there. I feel Leah can be, but she's not going to do that to her new spouse. And I think that is the difference between the two of them. I think she is going to give her the benefit of the doubt. She's going to be open. She's going to do what needs to be done. She wants to learn who her person is because,
Mm-hmm.
I think, personally, Leah is like Dean, came into this for a partner, for a spouse, for a lifetime commitment. I think she really came in. That's Leah, y'all. Came in for this, and I think that Lee is just not it. Not it. So okay, let's move on to another couple. Who would you like to go with next?
I think let's go with tattooed guy John, is it? And
Joe and Mave.
Joe. Yep, Joe and Mave. Yep.
Joe and Mave. Mave is a mother. She has a little boy, such a cutie pie. And Joe is a former party goer. Okay, for a former party dude. He said he saw his mama cry one time when he was doing too much partying, and he decided to stop. Mave is still in party mode. Mave is still out there hanging out with the girls, drinking, and she has told him when she drinks too much, she can be argumentative. Joe is kind of sketchy about that. He was kind of put off when he first saw her. He didn't know what to think. She rode in on a horse. She is an equestrian lady in a black gown. Joe is like, wait a minute, black is for funerals. Am I at the wrong place? Is this the wrong woman? But she is there in a black gown because she said it is a funeral for her single life and she's entering married life. What were your thoughts about Maeve and Joe? And they had a little bit of a dust up on their honeymoon.
Yeah. So straight off the bat, there is definitely an attraction from Mavis, because Mave is short for Mavis. So I'm going to call her old traditional name. Mavis was definitely attracted to Joe. Physically her type. She was looking for someone tall, tattooed, and tanned. All right. So he ticked all the boxes. It doesn't matter what came out of his mouth, the attraction was there. Now, Mave is from up north, as we call it, near Newcastle, that type of area. Very known for its nightlife, which usually consists of nightclubs and booze. Now, she is very forward, very direct, and she will have the propensity to be intoxicated. And we're talking about very often. All right. She seems like one of these, what they'll call a ladette here. A ladette is, all right, we have a subsection of men who, when they go out to the pubs, they get lively, wild, and loud. And she's like the female version of that. Right. So
Is it what we would call here kind of like a socialite?
now socialites got a lot more etiquette,
Okay.
a lot more.
Some of them don't out here.
Yeah, no, it ain't a socialite. No, it's an alkalite. They love alcohol and they're not too light on it either. Right. So yeah, so there's an immediate clash of personalities because I feel like him being a personal trainer now and a fitness trainer, he's realized that that side of his life has to be in the past. He said becoming a personal trainer was one of the best things he ever did, not only because of the way he works out, the way he feels from working out, but also helping other people. So the party life is not conducive to his current lifestyle. Now he looks like he's been a wild boy himself. So that the lady that Maeve presents herself as, he probably come across before. And that's where his caution is. His caution is like, I've seen Mavis before in a different form, and it didn't really go too well, and it's not compatible with what I'm looking for now at this stage in my life. Now, with that being said, the wedding dress, he said, put him off a little bit. And also the horse riding, you know, those were unconventional methods, if you like, to enter the wedding and come down the aisle. But then we also see a lack of table manners when she burps in his face, which is
Belch. That was a belch. That was no burp. That was a full-on belch.
right. Very, listen, lack of table manners, lack of decorum, again, synonymous with the typical ladette drinking culture lifestyle. And that is you know, as tattooed up as he is, he may not find that endearing. I don't think he did. I think he used that against, you know, he put that as a mark against her.
His nose turned up. You saw
Yes,
it. He was like,
absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
for your first dinner with someone, I think you should put your best table manners forward.
Yeah.
Even though I'm married to this person, they don't know me, you know,
Right.
in this experiment. So the first dinner, I will be using the appropriate fork, knife. Okay, I will not be touching my food with my hand and bringing it to my mouth or
Right.
belching at the
Right.
table.
Exactly. And if you're gonna belch, you know, you belch into your hand, you do it silently, whatever else. Right. But no, not full on like that. Now, there's a part of me that thinks, from what I've seen of her, she wants to be a warts and all type of person, which means this, I'm going to show you everything about who I am. And, you know, this is me, no filter. And, you know, you just accept it because we're married now. I think he wants someone that's a bit more classy. Despite his appearance, don't let the appearance fool you, with all the tattoos in his head and his neck and all these things. I think he wants someone with some etiquette and decorum. And then also a big, massive, wide red flag on the play is the fact that she always goes for the bad guy, the bad boy looking dude. And the relationships always end the same way. But again, she still wants that type of guy because she said it's fun. That was exactly what she said to her friends at the hen party situation. So as much as she knows they're not good for her, she still wants that type of guy, that bad boy that's going to keep her on her toes, keep her on the edge. And I don't think Joe is that anymore. I think he's calmed down, mellowed out, and he's looking
And
to be with someone a bit more on his level now.
And Joe said that he doesn't want to slide back into that at all.
Exactly. Yep.
He has left that behind, and he would be considering, like, would I want to be with her because she may take me back down that dark road and I don't want to be there. Now,
Exactly.
I agree with you. She may be throwing all that she is out there. She thinks it's fun and cute, but that bad boy that she's used to isn't, isn't Joe. But that bad boy didn't want to stick around to be a bonus dad to your son.
Mm-hmm.
Joe very much loved when she talked about her son. It showed she had a caring, nicer side. He seemed enthusiastic that she does have a child.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that Maeve has to come to the realization in her life at some point she's got to give up the partying for what she wants. And
Absolutely.
will she be willing to do that?
Absolutely. And you hit the nail on the head. With regards to her child, if she's looking for a partner, then that partner needs to be somewhat of a role model as well. If you keep picking these bad boys, and that's who your son grows up seeing you choose, and seeing that person in the house or out the house, depending on whether you're arguing or not, he's gonna probably take influences from that guy, and that forms part of his personality. Whereas someone like Joe, at the moment, seems to be someone who's a bit more, you know, classy, a bit more about self-improvement and improving others around him. Surely that's a better role model to want to be with, instead of being in the toxic pulls and ups and downs of a dysfunctional relationship.
Yeah, because
So,
Joe let the party and go. Joe realized it's time. The music stops and it's time to go home.
right. And also, she did get up and leave him at the bar when they were sitting down and eating. It's those type of things. Listen, when you disagree with someone, it's actually how you both resolve the conflict that strengthens your relationship. If you get up and walk away, or you slam the phone down, or you give silent treatment, or all these other different punishment methods, you're showing how difficult you really are when it comes to mending the relationship when they go south or when they go sour. And you can get, no, not unfortunately, you will get judged on that. You know, if things don't go your way and you strop and you throw your toys out the pram and you huff and puff and cuss and moan and yo, but how do you resolve these conflicts or these differences? If you walk off now in the early stages of the relationship, it doesn't bode well because you don't know each other yet. And you're giving your partner the opportunity to say, no, this isn't for me.
But there's no conflict. Joe was just saying what she said about herself.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
Joe didn't put 10 on 20. Joe did not
No.
try to, call her something she wasn't.
Hmm.
He was trying to get clarity over what she and her bridesmaids said at the reception. Okay,
Yep.
you say you get argumentative, you say
Hmm.
you get wild. I want to know how wild, what should I expect, out of this? It is a concern for me. He didn't say anything she didn't say about herself. So
No.
I was like, Joe, what are we arguing about? What are you storming off about?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Um, this is how, unfortunately, the ones that are usually the loudest are usually the ones that are most fragile and sensitive. She put it out there first. And when she's asked about it, she takes it as an attack or a provocation. No, this is a genuine concern because, how many beers does it take? How many glasses of wine does it take for this side of your character to come out? I need to know that if I'm Joe. Because,
Yes.
first of all, I've changed my life and I'm not much of a consumer of alcohol anymore, if at all. But I need to know that when we're out in public, you know how to handle your liquor. And more importantly, that liquor doesn't negatively impact our relationship when you get in your feelings about something.
But Joe, I think, understood what was going on at that moment with their date. You realize their date was a mixology. Why
Hmm.
production will put her, who is the party girl and drinks a lot, not excessively, y'all. I'm not calling her any kind of, alcoholic or anything. Someone
Hmm.
who, by her standards, says she drinks a lot. Why would you put her in a position with her new spouse who has given up drinking and partying? Why would you put them on a mixology date? That was a complete setup.
It's
That,
very,
that
it's very tone deaf. That's what that is. Why didn't you like? But they did do zip lining as well.
yes.
But the mixology date was very tone deaf. If you know that there's someone who likes to, but also, can we really say that because she does like a drink? And if she was placed on a date where there was no drink, she may not want to participate fully in the date because she likes to drink and have a good time, and it's not there.
But yeah, but it looked like it was a cognac that you're supposed to sip or a brandy, and
And
she
she's
took it like a
guzzling.
shot.
Yeah, exactly. Because
And
she
then
did
wants to say it burns, it burns. Yes, because it's supposed to be sipped, not gulped.
right. But that's what I'm saying. Like the UK has a major drinking culture. Recently, I would assume, I would say it's been driven by the younger generation, why it's not so popular to drink anymore. Don't get me wrong, there are still some that do it. But compared to previous generations, it's not anywhere close as much.
Gotcha.
And as a result of
Nobody's
that,
waking up outside the pub.
exactly, a lot of bars, nightclubs, and pubs are closing down weekly because of lack of people going to those venues. Whereas previous generations, you work at the end of your week, you go and spend your money in the pub or the bar to drown your sorrows, and then it's back to work again for the next week. That whole
Gotcha.
culture is gone now. but she still seems like she has residue, or she's a remnant from that drinking culture, which is becoming outdated now. So if those strong drinks, because it's usually spirits and brown liquors that are the hardest, and she's downing them like shots, that shows you that she can just knock them back. And it doesn't take much for someone to be inebriated to the point where they start to come out of their character once you drink those strong drinks.
Right.
And that's why Joe is very cautious about that. Do I want to get involved with someone who at any point in time will turn to the drink and then lash out on me and become argumentative and belligerent
and
How will
embarrass
we
me in front of my clients?
exactly? Oh yeah, how is he going to be able to calm her down if she's intoxicated and she's loud and disagreeable?
We got to talk about Joe too. Joe, my ears was ringing with Joe when he said he used to have his clients as a dating pool too.
Yes, he said he mixed business with pleasure occasionally.
Okay, Joe, that ain't good for your Yelp reviews.
That's not, and it's not good for his money. It's not good for his pocket, because once he's known for doing that, there will listen. Unfortunately, there will be some clients that will enjoy that, because they want companionship too.
Yes.
It's not. Sometimes the clients don't just come to you to get fit and healthy. Sometimes they come to you because you're a source of encouragement, or you're like a therapist for them. They can talk to you about stuff, and you're external to the rest of the things they got going on in their lives.
They come for a different kind of fit, for intimate time. That's the other type of fit.
There are some that do that, yes.
Yep.
But unfortunately, that messes with your pocket, Joe. So I hope those days are behind him. And yeah, but
I think Joe and Sarah, though, I don't know why. I think Sarah will like the look of Joe, of course, and he would like her temperament. She's feisty, but not feisty with the drinking.
Yes, but I think the critical nature of Sarah will turn him off, to be honest.
And the way she treats Dean will turn him off.
Yes.
That exactly. I could see Joe being like, yeah, I like you and all, but I could see you next lifetime or after the show. But if she tries to push up on him while she's still with Dean, that would totally turn Joe off. Yep, but yeah, I have barely any hope for Mave and Joe at all. I could see them just being here.
I would agree with that.
Let's go on to Devanni and Julia Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot to say, but let's go. This Devanni is the dad of, I believe, a 2-year-old son, and he is, a music producer. He loves his music. He is a Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel.
Yeah.
Yep, Marvel. Nerd, which I like. I caught on to all his little breadcrumbs about that.
I thought that was so cringe, but go ahead.
So okay, the rapping is cringe and the Marvel breadcrumbs is cringe. Okay, I see you, JR. Julia Ruth, though, is just like what I would say, like a Tinkerbell. She is a dancer. She's a happy person. She's had struggle in her life. She was adopted by her dad, and then she was adopted again by her sister, who she was raised with, and she calls the sister and her husband her mom and dad. She is, effervescent and just light and bubbly. And for me, when someone is that light and bubbly, or someone like Devanni who is just mellow, I want to know, when the needle goes the other way, how do you behave? Because is it with the same intensity? So Devanni sees her walking up the aisle and he is wowed. He immediately tells her she's beautiful, she's gorgeous. She is, shy with him. She, thinks he's a good-looking man, but he's kind of boring to her. She used the word boring. He wants to have intellectual conversations, and she just wants to be light and carefree and talk about how beautiful the sun feels today. my thing with Julia Ruth, and I will say this with all, clarity of being a girl that was in her shoes before. When you do have a lot of male friends who are of the Rainbow Coalition, that can sometimes warp your thoughts on how a man behaves. It can warp what you expect from your husband or man. That I'm not saying that is the case, but it's what the film is kind of showing me could be the case. She wants him to be as upbeat and personable and giggly as her friends, but that is not Devanni. He is, wants to have existential stuff, but Julia Ruth, you can say, "Hey, could we lighten up the conversation? Could we lighten it up a little bit?" So let me know your thoughts about these two, because he started off in the bedroom the honeymoon night, and then the first night of the honeymoon, she sent him to another room. What do you say about these two?
Initially, it looked like a good match. The kiss at the altar said a lot from what I saw. There was an instant attraction there. Then came he's not as tall as the guys I used to date. And there's nothing you can do about that, unfortunately. But you're right. She has come from a lot of things that have happened in her life. But that hasn't necessarily manifested in how she treats him. What's actually happened is, I think their personalities are very different. Her coming from the dancing world, creative world, I think she's always looking for stimulation. It has to be theatric, you know. Whereas he likes deep, meaningful conversations, the type that likes to lay up and chill and have intellectual conversation, whatever. So in that regard, I don't think they're a good match. But, when I first saw them together, I thought, yeah, they could work. After seeing them and the conversation they've had and how their personalities are, I'm not sure they gel.
I'm with you, and I think we have to learn how to communicate as well. If you're in a position like Julia Ruth and your person is giving you heavy conversation and you really don't want to have heavy conversation right now, you'd still have to make time for it. You can still say, "Hey, while we're on the camel, I really can't hear you. I really can't, absorb what you're trying to tell me. Can we, lighten up the conversation? Have you ever been on a camel before? Have you, what about the desert sands? Is this your type of vacation? How do you vacation?" He was talking deep stuff about, I don't, my biggest fear is that I will end up being alone for the
Yeah.
rest of my life and not have a partner to share this life with.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is not something you have on a camel, because I can't really help you, hear you and all that. And also, he's talking about, you hear that? Silence. That can be termed as, I don't want you speaking. That can be translated. It's not what he meant. He was absorbed in the moment. It was a big moment for him. He was feeling everything. That's my thought. But it's like he's like, "Oh my gosh, I've never been somewhere where there's complete silence." I can feel him on that. If he's from London or any big city, there are city sounds. And the minute you hear silence, you're like, "Wait, what is that?" That's complete silence. And as a music person with sound, he would notice that.
Absolutely. Thing is, with him being a music producer, sound is not only important, but it's repetitive. You have to keep repeating the same sounds, the same songs over and over again until you get it right. Repeat the same vocals. How many takes is this person going to do? How many songs do I have to put down on this particular album or whatever? Um, you know, Sound is everywhere. So the moment he gets in a place where there's no sound, the ability to just hear himself think, and there's no ringing in his ears or no bass or no trebles or no cymbals, he's going to appreciate that. Whereas, but to a degree, I mean, she's a dancer herself. She's a professional dancer. So she's also used to rehearsals, choreography, music, being around environments where it can get quite noisy as well. Like there'd probably be people in the audience, and backstage rehearsals and all types of noises. But again, because of their personalities, whereas he seems to enjoy peace and quiet, she wants interaction and more stimulation from her partner. So that's where they're going to clash. And also, I think with him being a father, I think he's a lot more thoughtful and measured. I think, I don't think this is the same dude if he doesn't have a child. But the fact that he has a child means he's a lot more calm and measured. And that's why we saw him get emotional on the when he sat down by himself as well. I think he really took this process seriously, and I think he's becoming dismayed at how it seems to be going, especially after being banished from the room. 1 minute they looked like they were chilling in bed together, and then to be told don't come back to the room or whatever, not good.
Not good at all. And as with everything, it's the way you say it. As she said, I don't want to talk about deep traumatic stuff and then want to be close to you intimately. So she's saying, hey, I can't, get the fuzzy feeling if, we're talking about heavy topics. But again, Julia Ruth, this is where the experts put y'all together. He is the even keel. He is the rock. Okay. And she is, the sun shining on that rock. The thing is, Julia Ruth, they're putting y'all together for you to infuse him with a bit of lightheartedness, for bring back the joy of life, to bring back the, happy about, everyday things in life. He's to get your feet planted on the ground when you need it. And you are part of the hot air balloon to raise him to the clouds as well. They have to feed off of each other. And all of these couples need to see that there's a part of you, the experts are seeing, that your partner will benefit from. And it's not shutting it down. It's actually feeding into it and resonating with that person. And yes, it can be heavy lifting. It can be, because he heavy lifted. But again, I think he could do with some of her lightheartedness. It would do him a world of good.
Absolutely. And that's sometimes when you compliment your partner, isn't it? Opposites attract in that regard. You might have someone who's a bit more down to earth, straight shooting, forward thinking, and very serious. Whereas the partner is more light-hearted, jovial, and you kind of balance each other out. Where one's too serious, that light-heartedness, that playfulness might, bring you closer together. And where you're always playful, you need someone to say, okay, I understand that, but let's get serious now and tackle this particular issue. So you have to balance each other. So you kind of taper, or you measure how your partner responds and reacts to how you are as a person. It takes you being self-aware, and it takes you being able to read the room as well.
Right, because we both have, Mr. Elson and I both have each, the time when we feel playful and time when we don't feel it. But in this instance with Julia Ruth, or like anything, you have to state like, hey, can we have lighthearted conversation during dinner? That is how I would like for us to have dinner. We could talk about our day, but can we, laugh and joke and be more playful at dinner? I can handle the heavier conversation at lunchtime. You have to leave him room for the heavy conversation that he wants to have, the introspection. But I think Devanni, in his head, he's already claimed her as his forever. So he is trying to be like the other bride, which is, I'm laying everything on you. I'm giving you everything I am. And it's like,
Right.
Julia Ruth needs it in doses, Devanni. And she needs it packaged in a different way where it's a little bit more jovial. The spoonful of sugar is what she needs for this. I think, the problem is mainly the whole spark thing. She says she doesn't feel for him. I don't understand. I felt the sparks coming through with that wedding kiss, and for her to say there's no spark, I was shocked. I'm not discounting. She's saying no spark, but I'm like, there was a spark. Maybe he was inflamed enough for all of us, but I thought they were sparking.
Exactly. Same here. But then there's a deterioration in their connection based on spending time with each other. So that's why it looks quite ominous. And then, as we saw from the clip for the previews of the next batch, he's sitting down at the dinner table expecting her to show up for dinner. And it seems like she's just sitting there on, on the bed, just chilling in deep thought, not even planning to go up and go and eat this dinner with him. So it doesn't look like, they're on the right path to a successful relationship. That's for sure. Unless there's clickbait to try and entice us into watching the next set of episodes, but that doesn't look good.
I hope it's clickbait because in anything, I don't like anyone being left at a dinner. And later on today at 5 o'clock EST, I'm going to be talking about Love Is Blind Brazil. And a bride was left at the dinner table after her fiance yelled and screamed at her. And I don't know how he thinks she gonna be a yes at the altar after that. But but in this case, I don't want anybody like left like that and not show up.
Right.
At least show up and tell the person, hey, this is not going to work. And for me, I think that's adulting, but some people are totally non-confrontational. You don't have to be confrontational, but I think it's respectful to tell the person, hey, in a very nice manner, this is not working out for me. I plan on not staying here. I'm going home. But I'm glad that I met you, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts about Devanni and Julia Ruth? Because we have one more couple.
No thoughts. No
Okay, last couple. Becca and Bailey. Last couple for week 1. Becca and Bailey, Mr. 6'4", but his friends say no, he's 6'2" on a good day. Now Bailey is Bailey is a beer entrepreneur. His beer is in pubs around UK, and he intentionally uses that with his dates to get bonus points. He to me is, the Don Juan, or he thinks he is. He does have a little girl. It's such a cutie pie. I mean, we only, UK is very respectful. I don't know if it's, certain releases have to be done, but we don't see most of these children. We only see like the back of their head or from behind, so that their identity is protected. I did like that.
You're not allowed to show underage children you're not allowed to take pictures, or you're not allowed to show videos of underage children.
Well, we saw Steven's 2 kids, and I don't know if it's because both parents signed a
Consent.
release.
Yeah, there's a release. It has to be done with consent.
Right. I totally appreciate that. So the kids aren't, a part of the whole, media circus that this is. Rebecca wants an alpha male. Alpha, alpha, alpha. If we were taking a sip of water every time she said alpha, 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 I say water because if Mave was doing a drinking game, we would be done. Rebecca wants an alpha male, alpha male, alpha male. I need to know what an alpha male in her mind is, because my golly lady. Then she talks to his friends who tell her all kinds of goss about him, and she believes the friends. She doesn't believe him. She doesn't want to listen to him, but she eventually does. She kind of calms down a little bit, but I don't believe it. But hey, Bailey certainly says this is the first time he's gotten the cheek to kiss. I think Bailey's used to, being a 10 out of 10 with the ladies out here. And he's finally met a lady. Now he's married to her who doesn't fall for his charm. What do you think? Is Bailey 6'4"? Or is he 6'2"?
I think he's 6'4" in heels, but he's 6'2" barefoot. Yeah, she's going to use that against him. She's already kind of framing it as you're a liar because you can't even tell the truth about your height. And yeah, she's looking to beat him up at any opportunity now. As far as their connection, I could see that she was looking at him. Initially it looked okay. Then again, another one where there wasn't much eye contact. It's like she's trying to look away more than anything else. Not sure where I see their connection going. Their dates looked looked okay. But I think when you see someone start to use the social media tropes, alpha male, The feminism, the misogyny, the narcissist, all the buzzwords. Red flag on the plate. Come off social media and live real life. What are you experiencing in real life? What are your expectations in real life? Don't let social media influence you. What are you looking for? And how do you conduct yourself to get it?
Again, what is her definition of alpha? Because the
Mm.
way she's talking about him and alpha is more saying like a-hole, because it's sounding like she wants a man that is domineering and just forceful, and it sounds like a jerk, quite frankly.
A man that's going to put me in my place. No. Again, the process is the show matches you up with someone that they feel is going to be a good connection for you. So when you come into this experiment, forget about what your typical type is and what you want. Unfortunately, you're at the mercy of the psychologists, the experts, whatever you want to call them, who have matched you with someone they feel is better. And remember, they interview the guy, they interview the lady, they see what you want, and they see if you're a good match. Now, if they've deemed that this is a good fit, it may not be. Not say they might not be 100% right. They hardly ever are. But still, you have to trust the process, because they've removed that power from your hands. You can't go out there and continually pick your type anymore. That's what you signed up for. So when Rebecca meets Bailey, and there's the distancing, all the couples seem to have been doing it this season, barring one or two. It's like the instant they've seen the person they're meant to be matched with, it's been a turn off, and then it's deteriorated from there. So I'm not sure how this one pans out either, but they both seem like reasonable, level-headed people. I just don't know if they're going to fit together and gel and create a happy relationship. And again, this is because he's a father. He has to be thinking about the child as well, bringing her around the child and what a family unit might look like if he includes Rebecca in it.
Right, exactly. And confident he is, he's confident that, back with his groomsmen, ain't no way she ain't gonna like me, is whether I like her. So he was kicked back on his heels a little bit with the whole kiss on the cheek. Also assertive. He is assertive. He's an entrepreneur, having his own microbrewery and selling his beer, in multiple bars. That is a lot. Even though he is laughing and jovial and getting a good laugh, I'm like, Bailey has a good business sense because that's a lot. That is no slouch to get that, and all the health inspection, food inspection, all that kind of stuff. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm seeing it like from a U.S. state side, somebody having a beer approved, and distributed to multiple bars. Even though he's jovial, he has a serious business on his hand.
Absolutely. It's big business. As I said, this country was synonymous with drinking culture for a long time. So for someone to come up with a brew or a special type of beer different from the regular stuff that's been going on for generations, and especially the name brand stuff like your Coors, your Bud Lights, and he's competing against those multi-billion-pound dollar companies, and he's created his own beer, and it's licensed to be sold throughout chains here. So it's a huge deal. It's very lucrative because drinking is still a national pastime here. It's probably the most popular national pastime. When you're happy about something, you go for a drink. When you're sad about something, you go for a drink. Leaving a job, you go for a drink. Getting a job, go for a drink. Bereavement, go for a drink. Wedding, go for a drink. Christmas time, go for a drink. Birthday, go for a drink.
Just for
Lunchtime,
the fun of it, go for a drink.
exactly. So
Well,
it's interwoven into our culture in the UK to go for a drink. Now, I don't drink. I've been teetotal the whole time. That's because I don't like alcohol. But I've seen, you don't have to go too far. There's a pub on every single street.
and that's the thing, I think that Rebecca's kind of stiff arming him. She's not seeing him for him. All she's seeing is she wanted an alpha that is 6'4". She's looking at the physicality. She hasn't learned who this man is. He's an entrepreneur like her. She's a nurse esthetician. She has a seriously successful business. I'm sure he would delight in that as an entrepreneur himself. But I don't think she wants to get to know him. It's like, are you 6'4"? And he's like, yeah. And it's like, she's like, no, he's not. And it's like, so what if he's not? That is a genetic trait that he cannot, you know, he can't stay, he can't, change. But the thing is, okay, yes, he would lie about his height. Why? Okay. Why
Listen,
would he lie about his height? Is because height is important out here.
right.
He said he
Well,
uses it in his dating.
right. But I mean, he's over 6 foot and he's definitely taller than her.
Squid and
So,
Cat said they're having lunch with us, so they're having a have a drink.
okay, yeah. So, fact is, he's over 6 foot. That we do know. And he's taller than her. He's not going to grow anymore. I think he's done growing. So basically, how he is presented at the moment, do you find him attractive? Yes or no? If it's a no, because he's not tall enough, again, can we reverse the roles and say, well, you're not petite enough? We can't, because that will turn Bailey into a villain, wouldn't it? Because he'll be body shaming. Why are you trying to shame the man's body? Because he's not as tall as your ideal is. You're not going to get your ideal because you came on a show where other people have chosen your partner for you. So this superficial attitude is not conducive to a long-standing relationship.
But your ideal hasn't worked. Your ideal
Exactly.
is not ideal because it would
Mm.
have caused you to be married already. It is not ideal. And my thing is, for me, give it a chance with the honeymoon. I ain't saying, anything other than be polite with the person. Try to figure out why the experts try to match them with you. Do that. And
Mhm.
then you could, figure out what you like or don't like. I mean, granted, the belching at the table is a bit much for Mave when she
A
did
bit
it with
much.
Joe.
That was
It's
gross.
I'm trying to be polite here. It's a bit much.
Could politely say it's gross and bad
I'm
manners.
I'm trying to put on my etiquette training. It's a bit much, okay?
Nasty. Filthy.
But Rebecca here is like, she's going through like a drive-through and is ordering, a groom, and it's like, this is not what I ordered. Can I see the manager?
Exactly. It's not mail order groom. It's not mail order groom. And
And
as
even
I
with it,
said,
right, go ahead.
with her wanting an alpha on all this other stuff, right? The stereotype or the way that people view alphas is they are very direct and they take no nonsense, right? So if an alpha says, listen, I'm a high value man, I'm an alpha man. If you're not slim, petite, fit, fun, and friendly, I don't even want to know you. You don't have no chance. If when you hear someone say that, everyone instantly goes to, oh, he's an a-hole, he's a misogynist. How dare he have standards? How dare he body shame? So, Rebecca, by doing what you're doing, you're opening up the doors for that mirror to be shown on you. Are you Miss Perfect? No, you're not. Are you expecting Bailey to accept you for how you are, how you've turned up, and all your quirks? Yes, you are. So why are you expecting him to accept you for your flaws and all, and you are critiquing and picking him apart for his physical and other things that you may not like? Stop
Exactly.
doing it.
I felt that was kind of open, but he knows the door is quickly closing with her. At the
Mhm,
end of it, I think she was kind of like understanding because his friend said that he changed for his partner. But that is the perception of a friend of what's going on in a relationship. He said he didn't change for his partner. He said he growed. The partner kind of, taught him some things. He
mhm,
changed the way he dressed. And some of us, hey, you may walk in without a sense of style and your partner help you get your style together. So
mm,
he grew. He said he grew in the relationship. He's like, we all learn from each other. And
mhm.
that showed a level of maturity. But if he was an alpha standing there, if we want to, I don't like the alpha talk. Truly, the alpha wouldn't even be on the show because they wouldn't want anyone else telling them who to marry. Let's put
Exactly.
it let's put it right there.
Exactly.
But I think it was kind of like chill. But I don't think in this area, the way she created the atmosphere, Bailey ain't even tell her he got a kid yet.
No. Came
Bill,
out of what?
why would I tell you if you caught up on my 6'4", 6'2", what you
Mhm.
caught up on whether I do 5 push-ups every day or I spend hours in the gym? Why would I tell you I've got a child? That is information I'm gonna keep quiet.
Mm. Yep, he
'Cause
doesn't see it lasting long. That's why.
exactly. I don't see it lasting long either, unless we truly have one of those challenges where but I'm sorry, I don't see none of these couples lasting long.
I agree. I was quite disappointed already, to be fair. But I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt because having watched Ready to Love and wasted all that time, I'm going to be, I'm going to hold some hopes that they're not, these reality dating shows aren't all bad.
Some hope.
Yeah.
Some hope. Well, we will definitely have hope, y'all. We are here. Life is reality. We are here weekly covering Married at First Sight, United Kingdom, season 10. I'll let the people know what you're up to. Life is reality.
Uh, what am I up to these days? Relationship reviews. That's what I can share. Relationship reviews and Instagram, JRX TV. You can catch me with some, fitness, health, well-being, property stuff, occasional clips on my stories. I don't really post like that no more, but mainly to my stories if I do. And TikTok, you got JRX TV on TikTok now too, showing some holiday locations, different exotic locations, a few of the nicer properties that I inspected, and yeah, that's where you can find me at. So definitely like and share and subscribe and leave some comments, and we'll obviously try and pick through them and get back to you as soon as possible with our responses.
Right.
Elsie?
Definitely. So you're here at Elsid 932 on YouTube. I am covering Love is Blind Brazil later on today. Members, we do adults only in members. That is at 8 o'clock EST on Mondays. For my folks in different time zones, I'll try and do a member live sometime that would coincide with your better timeline, but it is grown folks conversation. Okay. So those of you who were gifted a membership by Only Me 23 and by others, please understand it is grown folk conversation in members only. Members only is not monetized, but we have a good old show right there. No more King's Court, but please go and look at those recaps. I did the finale for Project Runway just yesterday. Love is Blind France, we have a reunion coming up on the 5th of October, so we're going to cover that. But Love is Blind Denver is coming up this week. And I hope you will certainly make sure you're subscribed. When I would upload videos, recaps, and go live. I really appreciate all the support, and we are growing here at the channel. So thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you next week for Married at First Sight for week 2.